Hello, class. In this unit, we are going to be learning about the natural processes of weathering and erosion and how the two processes work together to continuously shape and change the Earth's surface. We will be looking at different landforms over the world, some of which you may have seen for yourself. Today, we will be investigating a natural process that shapes the surface of the Earth, and it's called weathering. We have two examples here. First, we're going to take this glass jar filled with sand, gravel, and soil. Let's fill it up with some water and see what happens. Now let's shake this jar up. What do you think this water will look like in about 20 minutes? Let's keep shaking and see. It's turning a little brown, isn't it? Let's put it to the side and see what it looks like in 20 minutes. While we do that, we have another example. We have a jar full of different sizes of rocks, and we have the same rocks on this table. Let's fill this jar with water and see how this changes. Now let's shake this one up as well. I'm going to shake it for about 10 minutes. See what happens. It's been about 10 minutes of shaking. Let's pour this water into this other container and see how it's really different. What do you notice? Now let's strain it back into this jar and see what happens. If you notice, the water is actually clear again. Isn't that interesting? How does the water change the rocks? Well, if you notice, there are certain parts of the rocks that are broken off into the filter. That's a part of the weathering process. In our lesson today, we learned that weathering is the process by which rock material is broken down into smaller pieces. Weathering changes the Earth's surface by breaking down rock material into smaller pieces, which changes its shape. Some causes of weathering include water, ice, wind, and chemicals. In part B, when we shook up the jar of rocks and water, and we observed that some particles broke off. This lab simulated the process of weathering in a very short amount of time. But in the real world, weathering is a very slow process that takes long periods of time to affect change. Based on what you have learned in our investigations, how do you think the Grand Canyon was formed? Keep in mind, in our next lesson, we'll learn about another process that happens after weathering, and it's called erosion. But until then, bye-bye.